going to learn more about ISC. Here it is risk management. Suhan's good news. Okay, let's see the video.
The last time we saw Susan, she stepped into JavaScript for a cup of coffee and spoke to Keith about her job as a data security analyst in a security operations center.
Or, as Susan calls it, the SOC.
But what is a SOC anyway?
It's like headquarters for an information security team. That's where they monitor, detect, and analyze events on the network so they can prevent and resolve issues before they disrupt the business.
That sounds cool. Well, I bet with her coffee in hand, Susan is ready for another busy day at the fast-paced environment of the SOC.
That's right. Let's see how it's going for her.
It's a good day for Susan. Upon arriving at the SOC, where she has worked for 2 years as a senior data security analyst, Susan hears that she's just been promoted to manager.
That's so exciting. Now she reports directly to the Chief Information Security Officer, known as the CISO.
And she's now responsible for the management, operations, safety, and security of the SOC.
That must have been some cup of coffee. Let's listen in as she makes a presentation to her boss and colleagues just a few days after the promotion.
Hi everyone, thank you all for coming. Okay, so one of my first goals in my new role was assessing the skill set of our current staff and highlighting the current and future needs of the SOC. Using a template provided by our CISO, I carefully considered the company's goals as well as the milestones of the larger projects and considered staffing needs. During this process, I identified a risk in relation to staffing and conducted an assessment. I plan to make a recommendation on whether the company should mitigate, avoid, transfer, or accept this risk.
Evaluating risk is a big part of Susan's new job. Let's hear a little more about how she does this.
As we all know, our staff is a dynamic team challenged by the volume and growing sophistication of the cyber threat alerts that they are receiving. Because of the fast pace and the high level of manual triage needed to address these threats, there is a potential for high turnover among the Tier 1 and the Tier 2 incident response teams. And because hiring, onboarding, and training new staff takes time, turnover could mean that there are fewer trained associates available to triage or escalate these threats. The training of new staff is not only time-consuming and costly, but it also represents an increased cyber risk to the company. Now, I have access to some data, including quarterly hiring reports from HR and the number of incidents that are triaged each week, but I decided that I didn't have enough information to do a quantitative risk assessment. However, a qualitative risk assessment may be well suited for this situation because it allows us to rank or estimate the probability of a particular risk occurring and the loss or impact of that risk using terms such as high, low, moderate, and severe. This will provide me with enough information in my report to allow the leadership team to decide if any further analysis is needed.
Susan can use a graphical representation to help her evaluate and communicate potential risks.
Now, I'm going to use a risk matrix to determine the likelihood of the operational risk occurring. Having worked in the SOC myself for several years, I have personally witnessed a high turnover rate among the SOC staff. So I think that there is a moderate to high chance of the risk occurring, meaning this risk belongs in the upper quadrants of the matrix. Now, I just need to figure out if the risk carries a high or low impact on the organization as a whole.
When Susan determines the quadrant, which will be covered more shortly, she can include in her report a recommendation, suggesting risk mitigation, avoidance, transference, or acceptance.
This recommendation could also help company management to prioritize the risk and enable the organization to balance immediate and longer-term cost and benefits.
Good work, Susan. We know you'll do great in your new position.
Okay, Susan has got the good news. So she have explained how she got and she have given the experience about that. This was like good news of Susan's.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Yeah.
see in next chapter.